people. Jaron Boost Ennis. Who should he fight next? Should he fight Rollies Romero or Teofimo Lopez? Let's talk about it. Y'all already know what it is, man. I'm Jay Smith. This is Box Center, your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. Let's talk about it. Um, the reason I'm asking if Jaron Boost Ennis should fight Teofimo or Rollies is because they both seem to one way or another be in the mix. With Rollies, he was in a title eliminator with Ryan Garcia. He pulled off the upset. So now he's going to be mandated to fight Jaron Boost Ennis for one of his titles. And then Teofimo Lopez, who has recently said, on social media publicly that he wants to fight Jaron Boost Ennis. If I'm not mistaken, he actually called out Boost after his fight as well. So those are two young fighters who both, Teofimo already expressed interest in fighting Boots, and Rollies may end up being Boots mandatory. So there's a possibility that Jaron Boost Ennis ends up fighting one of these two opponents. What do you guys think? First one in the building, and hit that like button right away. Appreciate you, my brother. Bam. I think, it's a very interesting matchup either way. I'd love to see Rollies fighting Boots and Teofimo with Boots. That's also a heck of a matchup. R30, sup, my G? What's the deal, my brother? So what do you think about that fight, man? Which one would you prefer to see? Rollies or Teofimo versus Boots? Me personally, that's a tough pick because I believe both of those fighters can, in their own way, make it interesting versus Jaron Boost Ennis. Obviously, Boost would be the favorite. John Parham, salute, my brother. So, yeah, man, that's the first topic of conversation for this live. Boots, he won recently in very impressive fashion. Rollies pulled off the massive upset against Ryan Garcia. And, of course, Teofimo beat Arnold Barboza. So, who out of these two fighters would you guys like to see fighting Jaron Boost Ennis? R30. Two quality opponents. I want the two fights. He'll come to fight with good energy. Teo. I mean, look, Teo has been, this is not the first time he does it. He has been expressing interest in fighting Jaron Boost Ennis. So Teo wants that action. He wants it. And I tell you what, that's a fight I would love to see. The same thing with Rollies. Look, we underestimated him for that fight with Ryan Garcia. A lot of us thought Rollies Romero was going to get knocked out by Ryan. I said that he would get knocked out by the ninth or before that. Pulled off the massive upset. So I want to see what's next for Rollies. But Teofimo honestly is the guy that I would prefer to see fighting Jaron Boost Ennis. Maybe because he's a little bit more accomplished than Rollies. Has won more titles. And I think it's a better matchup. I don't know why. I just feel that way. Although we did see a Rollies Romero who was a lot sharper in his fight with Ryan Garcia. We saw a lot of jabs to the body, keeping that stick out there, footwork, movement, counterpunching. We saw a lot in Rollies. He looked real good. LB Marshall, the future #1 boxing channel, salute. Teo do want the smoke. You got to respect that. I'm saying, my brother, Teofimo Lopez has emerged to be one of the young fighters who's proven over and over that he's a throwback fighter. He's about that action. He's about that smoke. He's trying to fight all of the best. So you got to respect Teofimo Lopez. And let's see how it plays out. Because Boots, he's not about ducking no smoke. Now, I do know that Boots most likely wants to fight Brian Norman Jr. and Mario Barrios. Why? Because they're the other two title holders in the division. And Boots is trying to become undisputed. But I think a fight with Teofimo Lopez will be a huge fight, and fans will go crazy for it. Everybody's going crazy for that fight. Teofimo Lopez going to welterweight, challenging Jaron Boots, and is the big dog in the division. That would be insane. It really would be. R30, Rolly is good, but I don't like his footwork. Ryan didn't fight, so Rolly needs another good fight for me to become a believer. Well, I gotta say about Rolly, my brother, if you watch that fight, he was very active with that jab to the body, very accurate, stiff, hard jab to the body, consistent. Up top, he kept that stick out there, combination punching. Yo, Rollies looked sharp. He didn't look like the usual, rock'em sock'em robot. Let me just get in there and boom, 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 trade leather with you. He boxed smart, and he looked good. So we gotta see, is this a new Rollies that we're gonna get more of? He's training with iconic Cuban coach Salas, and they got him sharp. They got him looking sharp. Angry Mexican. Conor Ben said he is definitely moving back to 147. So how about Ben versus Boots in the UK? I love that fight. And Conor Ben has actually expressed interest in wanting to fight Jaron Boots Ennis. He has. So, and that's what I like about Boots. You see, that's why titles are important. Now Boots got 2 titles, and more doors are going to open up for him. More guys are not going to be willing to fight him, are going to want to fight him. The opportunity to get a title shot at a unified champion. Blair the Flair, Teofimo Lopez, and others have expressed interest in fighting Jaron Boots Ennis. So let's see, who he's going to fight next and how it's going to play out. R30. Ben versus Boots is a great fight, but Boots will want him in the U.S. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where that fight plays out. That fight could play out in Philly, and it could also be in the U.K. To be honest, I think it's a bigger fight in the U.K. I think it's a bigger fight in the U.K. Boots going all the way to the U.K. to put his title on the line, and I think it would actually be bigger. Angry Mexican. Eddie should be able to make the fight easy, of course. And that's what Conor Ben said. Yo, we're both on the same side. That's an easy fight to make. So Conor Ben already expressing interest. R30, UK big support and more cash. R30, facts. UK, huge payday. I'm telling you, the UK, they'll put them in a big ass arena. They'll sell out and also do real good pay-per-view numbers. We just saw Conor Ben and Chris Eubank Jr. reportedly did over 1 million pay-per-views. So that's it. If those reports are legit, you're gonna see Conor Ben's numbers when he fight on pay-per-view go like this. And that was a heck of a fight, man. Conor Ben versus Chris Eubank Jr. That's the type of fight that they're gonna be talking about it for ages. For ages. It was that type of fight, that type of showdown. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. They traded some nasty leather for 12 rounds. For the duration, they went at it. R30. Plus, I want to see Boots fight on the road, away from home. That's the inevitable anyways, When you're a champion, you're going to get a lot of those fights that are in your home turf. But eventually, if you defend long enough or if you're a champion for long enough, you're going to end up putting that title on the line in somebody else's home. So, make it happen in the UK. I think that's a big fight. So, Conor Ben is another option for Jaron Boots Ennis. So, there's Conor Ben, Teofimo Lopez, and of course, Rollies Romero, who upset Ryan Garcia. Those are all good options for Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, I have people that told me I got Boots beating all of them, washing them. We gotta see it happen. We gotta see it happen. Jaron Boots Ennis is a special fighter, and he's doing special things. He's gonna continue to do so, but don't get it twisted. He's not the only special guy in town. You know, Teofimo is not an average Joe. And the other guys, Conor Ben is not an average Joe. Neither is Rollies Romero. Angry Mexican, do you think the main reason fighters tend not to go to another's backyard to fight is fear of a robbery? I think that's part of it. That's part of it, not all of it. And I say it's part of it because when you go fight elsewhere, it's a lot of different factors. Like, for example, if you're from the U.S., let's say, and you go to some places in Europe, you go to Australia, you're fighting in a different time zone. So now, at the time that you're normally getting up in the morning, you might actually be fighting somewhere. Or what would have been 12 o'clock in the afternoon at your home, you're not going to be fighting because that's nighttime over there. So there's little challenges also that you may not want to face, the difference in time zones, then the difference in weather. If you're from somewhere where it's always hot, you're going to go fight somewhere where it's freezing cold. So there's also a lot of little factors that can affect you on fight night. R30, hit that like, peeps. Hell yeah, my peoples. Y'all already know what it is, man. Hit that like button. Let's get it. JJ's in the house. J Smith, I'm here. Let's go. Hit the like button, everyone. Salute, my brother. Shaggy, happy Wednesday, my G. Boots should obviously fight Rolly. That's the next piece. I mean, they did say Ryan Garcia versus Rollies was an eliminator. So now, Rollies is going to be mandated to fight Jaron Boots Ennis. So is Rollies being mandated for that fight and Teofimo Lopez calling for it. That's two options right there for Boots. King 187, do you play boxing games? I do not play boxing games, my brother. Shaggy, I feel Boots is not in the limelight as Rolly and Ryan. That will put him up. That's what I'm saying. Boots needs to already get in the ring with some names. With some fighters that are going to help him raise his own profile. Because look, man, I think we all know Boots is that guy. He's that dude. But he doesn't yet have the same type of star power as these other guys. John Parham, agree. Angry Mexican, why people ducking Blair Cobbs at 147? Because Blair Cobb is a danger. Blair Cobb is a problem. People don't want to be upset, and Blair Cobb is that guy that can upset you. The thing about Blair is that he's an unpredictable fighter. The way that he fights, the way that he throws his punches, he can catch you with something you don't see coming. He can counter punch you with something nasty. But I also think that Blair Cobb is having a hard time getting opponents because, if I'm not mistaken, he managed himself. He don't got a manager, or he's not signed to a promotional company. And it's always going to be tough. If you're on your own like that, it's always going to be tough. Unless, you're a superstar, it's tough to be a free agent in boxing. If you're a big star, if you already made a name for yourself, you're going to get the big fights. But if that's not the case, it's going to be tough for you. I've seen Blair Cobbs calling out Boots, saying he want to fight Boots. But how you going to get that fight? And I believe that most of us enjoy watching Blair Cobbs, and we want to see him in those big fights. But when you're a free agent, it's tough to get those. So, let's see. Lately, If you think about it, Blair Cobbs lately he's been inactive a lot. Like he'll fight, then inactivity. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it the last time he fought when he beat Adrian Broner? Has he fought after that? I can't even remember. John Parham. Cobb wants smoke. Yeah, Blair Cobb's about that smoke. Angry Mexican, that's true. I didn't know that. R30, bingo. If Blair is so with no management, it's an uphill climb for politics at its finest. I'm telling you. For him to get a fight with Boots when he don't do business with Eddie and none of them. For him to get a fight with Virgil Ortiz when he don't deal with Oscar De La Hoya. For him to get a fight with Teofimo Lopez, he don't deal with Top Rank. Yo, he's in a tough situation to get those type of fights. Angry Mexican Blair goes on this YouTube channel for like 2-3 hours. He is cousins with the guy, I believe. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen. I'm guessing that's some type of podcast that he goes on. But Blair Cobbs, man, he got the type of talent that he should have signed with one of these promotional companies at least to get some of these fights. JJ Sendejas, I tried to bet Canelo already, but book set is not on the books yet. It will be. Don't worry. It will be. It was officially announced. I guess it's not on the books yet because they haven't signed contracts maybe. But it will be. Don't worry about it. Angry Mexican. He seems like a good dude. Yeah. I'm guessing you're talking about Blair Cobbs. He does come across as a cool guy. But again, being a free agent is tough. If you're not a superstar in boxing, somebody that, everybody's trying to fight, everybody's trying to get that payday with you, it's tough to get a fight when you're a free agent. It's tough to get one of the big names in the ring with you. When all of them... Because think about this. Blair Cobbs want to fight Boots, right? And I think that's a fight a lot of people would love to see. Cobbs versus Boots. But consider this. Boots got Rollies who's going to be mandated to fight him. Teofimo Lopez who wants to fight him. Virgil Ortiz who wants him to come to 154 and fight him. All of these guys, all of these fighters are managed by the big boys. So how does a guy like Blair Cobbs, who doesn't have one of the big promotional companies behind him, get a fight with Boots? When Boots has all these options with these big companies. Love more Hinduism. What's next for Ryan, you think? I mean, look. No need for a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, Ryan is done. Ryan is cooked. Look, Ryan is still the same star that he was the day before he lost to Rollies. He's still the same star. His stock didn't plummet. He's not, down and out. Ryan Garcia can literally fight whoever he wants. Maybe with the exception of Devin Haney and Tank Davis, because those two fights are rematch, and coming off of a loss, they might not want to fight him. But outside of that, Ryan can fight whoever he want to fight. He's still one of the biggest stars in boxing. So I'd like to see him fight, somebody that will find it an interesting fight as opposed to fighting a no-name fighter. I'd like to see the rematch with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney if that could be made. I'd like to see Ryan Garcia fighting Boots if Rollies doesn't want to do that fight. I'd like to see Ryan Garcia still do that rematch with Tank Davis, but at 140, even a catchweight, 144, 143, I don't know. Could that fight happen? I don't even know. But I think that Ryan Garcia is going to have some options. He's going to have to make a decision, but he'll be okay. R30 example. Look how they do Shakur, dodging him. So Cobbs don't have a shot. Imagine. You see how they doing Shakur Imagine Blair Cobbs who don't even have a team behind them like that. Ozzy, a lot of these pro Canelo channels are saying Canelo has declined. That Canelo has declined what? You mean the his offer to fight Terence Crawford? Angry Mexican. As of right now, Canelo is a 220 favorite odds. Makes a 68-34 fight for Canelo. JJ Zendejas. If anyone else but me is going to bet Crawford, get it in early as you can before the odds change. Love more Hinduism. Ram versus Barboza or Ramirez. Those are good fights. Ozzy. Like he's on the downhill. He's not as good as he was before. Who are you referring to, Ozzy? He's on the decline. Who's on the decline, my brother? But again, I believe that Ryan Garcia, Canelo. I mean, I think that he's still able to perform at a high level, at the highest level. That's my opinion. This fight, what we saw from Canelo in this fight is that he's not the greatest at cutting off the ring, but we've always known that. Canelo, his footwork is never been, he's not known for great footwork. So Canelo, I would just say he needs opponents that are going to cooperate with him, that they're going to stand there and trade with him and fight him. Ozzy, sounds like excuses in case he loses. JJ's in the house. He's saying Canelo is on the downside of his career. I don't believe so. I think Canelo is still, one of the best fighters in boxing right now. JJ's in the house. Angry Mexican. Canelo been fighting pro since 15. Just a lot of mouths, but still pound for pound fighter. Yeah. Canelo Alvarez is a pound for pound fighter right now. He's one of the best in the game. Ozzy, they better give Bud props if he beats him. I mean, listen, there's gonna be some people who give Crawford credit if he beats Canelo, and then there's always gonna be the people who have excuses. There's always gonna be the people that no matter what, they'll find something negative to say. They're gonna find something negative to say. You better believe it. But I made my prediction, and I told you guys I got Terence Bud Crawford beating Canelo Alvarez by unanimous decision. I made my prediction, and I can live with that. But I think it's gonna play out exactly like when Crawford was gonna fight Errol Spence, where so many people were saying that he was gonna get knocked out, that he was too little, Errol Spence was too big. And what happened after the fight? Terence Crawford pummeled Errol Spence, and right after that, people started, oh well, the accident and the eye, and his dog ate his homework, and he smoked a blunt that day. All the excuses under the sun. Ozzy, the Canelo in the fight looks very beatable. I mean, I think part of what we saw in that last fight was, the way William Skull fought, where it was just a lot of lateral movement, a lot of running around, and not even a lot of punching. William Skull was there to survive 12 rounds and say, I went the distance with Canelo, but he wasn't really trying to win. So we got to understand, when a fighter's there to survive, it's hard to really look good against those guys or to stop them, because their main focus is defending themselves. Love more Hinduism. Canelo KO Bud. Man, he ain't KOing no Bud. You wildin'. R30. Crawford will have to beat Canelo twice to be considered a man. Sure, there will be a rematch clause. I mean, I'm wondering if there's a rematch clause, because they have not mentioned it. But I think that's something we'll find out. Love more Hinduism. Canelo gonna smoke that Bud. Man, you're gonna be disappointed when they fight each other. Terence Bud Crawford's gonna put the baits on Canelo. Might even make him look bad. Ozzy, Bivol says Skull footwork was good. Oh, now listen. Skull footwork was on an elite level. Where the best of the best operate at. footwork crazy, but didn't have enough offensive output. Didn't let them hands go. Didn't appear to be there to take it from Canelo. Instead, he was there, doing enough to keep Canelo at a distance. And whenever Canelo closed the gap, he was on that lateral movement, going to the left, going to the right, faking to the right, going to the left, faking to the left, going to the right. They're like, that was all night. Did it for 12 rounds. So the footwork is crazy, but the offensive firepower just wasn't there. I didn't feel like William Skull was there to beat Canelo, to take it from him. I felt like he was there to survive. And to be able to say, look, I went the distance. I went 12 rounds with Canelo. So the only knock that I got on Canelo for this fight is that he wasn't cutting off the ring. Couldn't cut off the ring to save his life. Angry Mexican. I'm sure Canelo has a rematch clause, but no but. Canelo calls the shots. But is just happy to be there. Raw Dog. Devin Skull, same bullshit. Gay Rivera. What's up, my brother? What's the deal, my G? I would have said Skull and Haney was the same bullshit. And the reason I say that is because at least Devin Haney won. That's the difference. Devin Haney, used a lot of footwork. And there wasn't a lot of offensive firepower. But he did outbox Jose Ramirez. He beat him easily. But William Skull did that shit on survival mode, which is different. He wasn't trying to win, he was trying to survive. Or at least that's how I saw it. R30, Bud got that quiet man confidence. Built his way up the hard way, beating all comers. Yo, Terrence Crawford is a special fighter, who for whatever reason people refuse to give him his flowers. And I think this is just going to be another one of those to show people that Crawford is who we say he is. Angry Mexican. This is just another fight for Canelo. I truly believe that, which is why he is taking the fight. Canelo getting beat up, bro. I'm telling you. JJ Zendejas. Tickets at the Raiders Stadium start at $485 up to $3,400 for Canelo and Crawford fight. I mean, they're gonna be expensive. This is gonna be like they're gonna sell this as the fight of the century or something like that. Raw Dog. I watched the fights. They both stank out the joint. So you could say they both stunk up the joint, but Devin Haney won and William Skull was there to survive. If you stink up the joint but you win, you got the most important thing, which was that W. Gay Rivera, Canelo versus Crawford. It's a legacy for both. What you think? I agree with you, my brother. That's a legacy fight. That's the type of fight that people will be talking about it for a very long time. We'll be watching it for a very long time. Crawford versus Canelo, 20 years down the line, they'll be playing that shit on ESPN Classic. So, of course, that's a huge, huge fight. And it's going to be one of the biggest ones of this era. For sure. Angry Mexican. Looking at Bud's resume of opponents, I don't think he's ever beat a no-brainer Hall of Famer. Look at the key word that you put in there. A no-brainer Hall of Famer. Like, you're making it into your opinion. Amir Khan is a Hall of Famer. And Crawford beat him. Errol Spence is going to be a Hall of Famer. Crawford beat him. See, but it's part of the hate narrative. Like, you say that, but, like, who do you think is a Hall of Famer at the welterweight division that he could have fought? That's just hater stuff. Crawford is a Hall of Famer. He got Hall of Famer credentials. First ballot Hall of Famer, my brother. Ozzy, what do you think about the no rehydration clause in Canelo versus Crawford? I like it. I've never been down with the rehydration clause anyways. I like it. And you know what? I just seen the other day Terrence Crawford weighing like 185 pounds. We just seen Crawford and Canelo go face to face the other day. And it's exactly like I told ya. Canelo didn't look big in front of Crawford. For those who think that Canelo's gonna be some giant in front of Crawford, it was face to face just a couple of days ago, and y'all seen it. R30, Canelo taking this fight because the turkey rolled up the Brinks truck to pay him. It's all about the money. Payday, payday. Tommy Dukes, nice rhyme. Raw Dog, if Bud lacks of activity at a weight class has never been gonna be a factor. It's not gonna be a factor. And this is why I'm telling you that it's not gonna be a factor. Terrence Crawford is a special athlete. He's not the average Joe. With the average Joe, I would say yes, yes. But Terrence Crawford is a guy who take care of his body like the best of them. Like Floyd Mayweather, like Michael Jordan, like Kobe Bryant. That's how Terrence Buck Crawford take care of his body. This guy's a gym rat. This guy's extremely fit. So he's gonna be ready. He's gonna be ready. Moving up 2 weight classes to fight a small 168 pounder, it's not gonna be a problem for Crawford. JJ said that here comes the hate for Crawford. Angry Mexican, Canelo is a billionaire. What the hell does that got to do with anything, bro? Now you're gonna be acting like a Canelo maniac? What does Canelo being a billionaire got to do with anything? And that's a crazy exaggeration. Canelo might be a billionaire in Mexican money. He's not a billionaire in dollars. But that shit don't even got nothing to do with nothing. Ozzy, at some point, you fight anyone for the right price. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Look, people fighting Jake Paul because the bag is there. Raw Dog, is Canelo a special athlete? Is Canelo a special athlete? That's a great question. I don't think he's a special athlete. I think he's a gifted fighter, which is different. Why do I say that? He's not a physical specimen, but he's a gifted fighter skills-wise. That's what I would say. Ozzy, Crawford got some crazy strength. Man, Crawford be lifting up over 300 pounds, deadlift, wearing regular clothes, boots and everything. Yeah, yanking that shit up. Crawford is mad strong. He's a physically gifted athlete. No. So I think people are really underestimating Crawford's strength and the fact that he's taller than Canelo, has longer reach than Canelo. I think people don't understand what those advantages are going to mean at that level where they are. We'll find out. R30, a billionaire crazy work. I don't know where this man got billionaire from. Like we making shit up out of thin air these days. Love more Hinduism. He's a great fighter. His timing is perfect. Jerry Camper, boxing skills. Boxing skills pay the bills. That's why, most people siding with Canelo, all they talk about, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's just much bigger than Crawford, and he's got the power. And it's like, yo, have y'all not learned that skills pay the bills? And great boxers beat great punchers all the time? There are endless examples of this. John Parron, Canelo definitely got to look better than he did last night. Ozzy, I think Crawford might frustrate Canelo even more than Skull. I think people are going to find out that Crawford, the fact that people think Crawford is just going to get beat up, is just going to get pummeled, it's like you're assuming that Crawford is just going to stand toe-to-toe, blow for blow, and do rock'em sock'em robots with Canelo. And it's not going to be that. You're going to see a Terrence Buck Crawford that's going to use his footwork, use that ring IQ, use that long jab to keep Canelo at a distance, set him up with nasty counterpunches. You're going to see a Canelo that's going to have to hesitate to get on the inside because he's gonna taste that power, and he's not just gonna be walking down right out the front door like nothing. Nah, it's not gonna be like that, and you're gonna find out. R30, I'm the only one. Hit the like button. Come on, folks. Hell yeah, my peoples. Hit that like button. John Parham, can Crawford hurt Canelo? Can Crawford hurt Canelo? I think if he catch him with a punch he doesn't see coming, he can hurt him. But it's tough to catch Canelo with that shot. Canelo's very good at, bracing himself for punches, spinning with those punches, going with the momentum, and his ring awareness. Canelo's not a guy that gets hit with shots he don't see coming. So it's hard, really hard to hurt him. It can happen. The odds are against it, though. Love more Hinduism. Canelo would have destroyed Spence in 3 rounds. That's just an assumption. Good assumption if you want it to be, but I don't know that. Ozzy, the way Canelo holds his head, is hard to hurt Canelo. Yeah, that's the one thing that, look, the punches that really hurt you are the ones that throw your head around. When somebody get hit and their head bounces around, because that could move your brain inside of you. That's what causes a concussion. Canelo don't get hit with that type of shot. Usually, and he has a very strong neck. Usually when Canelo get hit in the face or the head, boom, he go like that. But you don't actually see him go like that when he gets hit. And he's very good, like I said, at rolling with the punches and not absorbing the full impact. Which is why you never seen Canelo really get hurt like that, get dropped, look like, oh my God, he's wobbled. Never really seen that. Honestly, I've never seen Canelo hurt badly. He never been hurt. And he took Triple G's biggest shots when Triple G was in his prime. Raw dog, Canelo will kill Spence. R30, Canelo built like a tank. Gonna be tough to take him out. Love more Hinduism. Only guy who hurt Nello was Cotto's brother. I don't think Canelo was ever hurt. He took some good shots, but hurt, I don't know, man. Gay Rivera, is Canelo the best Mexican fighter of all time? I think an argument can be made for him. I mean, it's going to be between him and Chavez. I know that this guy, too, what's his name? That Roy Jones Jr. said that's his best fighter. I can't remember his name right now. Salvador. Yeah, Salvador Sanchez, is also in that argument. But, unfortunately and tragically, his life got cut short. And his career was short. So because of that, I wouldn't put him at number 1. I think he's one of the greatest Mexicans of all time. And if he would have stuck around, he would have definitely, achieved a lot more. But I think the greatest Mexican of all time, it has to be between Chavez and Canelo. That's it. I think it's right there between one of them two. Ozzy. And still beat the best featherweights of his time. Yeah. Yo, Salvador Sanchez was a special fighter. He was a very special fighter. And he would have gone on to accomplish a lot of great things. And if you've had the opportunity to watch some tape on him, his defense was crazy. His head movement, his step back, sidestep. Salvador Sanchez was amazing. Well, you already know when Roy Jones Jr. tells you, this is my favorite fighter, and I took some things that he did so I could do them too, then you know. You know what type of fighter he was. Now, my peoples, we digressed. R30, smart of Canelo to take that exhibition fight with Skull as a warm-up before the Crawford fight. I mean, I think Canelo made a business decision, and I say that because, think about this. He could have fought Crawford right away, but instead, he fought William Skull to become undisputed. So now he got the bag off of that fight. I don't know how many millions he got, but obviously he got paid. But now he's going to get the super bag fighting Terrence Crawford, and it's gonna be for all the marbles. It's gonna be for undisputed. So it already makes it a much bigger fight when you're talking about all the belts being on the line. It was a smart business decision. Ozzy, Roy Jones Jr. in his prime was the best fighter I've ever seen. Roy Jones Jr. in his prime was something special to see. There's only one thing that affects Roy Jones Jr. If you think about it, when he was in his prime, there really wasn't big names in and around his weight class for him to fight. That's why when you look at Roy Jones's resume, there's a lot of fighters on there that you didn't really. Some of them were good fighters, but you didn't really know them. You never really heard of them. A lot of them, and it's because of that. And that's not his fault. He was dominating his division, but you're like, who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is that in the ring with Roy Jones? And that's the only thing that it wasn't his fault. Love more Hinduism. Hopkins, Tony, Tito. But look at Roy Jones's entire career, and look when he fought Hopkins, how many years apart he fought Hopkins and James Toney, and how many years apart for him to fight. And Tito Trinidad was at the tail end of his career at a weight division that he should never have even been fighting at. He manhandled Tito Trinidad. So Tito was old and small for Roy Jones Jr. So, if you look at the names in his resume, he didn't have people, that were like James Toney. That's legit. Hold on, let me clarify that. I don't want to skip over that, right? James Toney's a legit. That's a big win for Roy Jones Jr. But keep looking at the list. Bernard Hopkins, they fought early in their career, and Roy Jones Jr. won the fight, and then it took like 20 years for them to do the rematch. They was both washed up. Roy Jones refused to give Hopkins the rematch, by the way. In case you didn't know, I still remember when Bernard Hopkins fought in an eliminator, he won, and after he won, he was supposed to get the rematch with Roy Jones, and it never happened. Roy Jones didn't want to give it to him. So finally, when they did the rematch, they was both washed up. Love more Hinduism. He beat a heavyweight champ, John Ruiz. My brother, were you watching at that time? Were you following boxing at that time? John Ruiz was like, let me put it to you like this. Beating John Ruiz would be like somebody like Tank Davis moving up in weight and beating Mario Barrios. Like, Mario Barrios is never going to be a pound-for-pound fighter. It's never going to be considered one of the best. It's never going to be one of the big dogs. The same with Ruiz, the quiet man. He was a good heavyweight. I don't know if he got a vacant title or how he got a title, but Ruiz wasn't all that. He was never a pound-for-pound guy. He was never a great champion. Was never one of the guys that you're like, oh my God, this is it right here. This guy might be one of the guys. Nah. I would say Ruiz was a good fighter. But Roy Jones didn't move up and didn't challenge Evander Holyfield. He didn't challenge Mike Tyson, who at that time was still doing it. He challenged the weakest link, and he beat him. So that's not really... When people talk about Roy Jones Jr. resume and his legacy, they're like, yo, he beat John Ruiz. John Ruiz is really not a big win. It's a big win because he moved up to heavyweight. Angry Mexican. Tony was pound for pound 3 going into that fight. But that's what I just said. I said, James Toney was a legitimate win for Roy Jones Jr. That was a big win. But if you look at his resume, because of the weight classes that he was fighting at and at the years that he was fighting there wasn't a lot of big names for him to fight. I remember Roy Jones for a teacher, for a police officer. Roy Jones was fighting people that you're like, who the hell is this? Angry Mexican. Roy only weighed 193 in that fight with Ruiz, who was 235, 240. Angry Mexican. John Ruiz beat Holyfield. Come on, bro. John Ruiz beat washed up Holyfield, who had already been beat a bunch of times already. Stop. Don't try to make John Ruiz look better than what he is, bro. John Ruiz was not. John Ruiz. Nah. John Ruiz wasn't all that. He was a good heavyweight. I remind you that he went up against David Tua and got obliterated, put to sleep in like 10 seconds. Took a nasty beating. Went to sleep, like took a nap, for real. Love more Hinduism. Ruiz took Holyfield belts. But Evander Holyfield was washed up at that time. Look it up, man. Evander Holyfield was already washed. Raw Dog. Tony beat the fuck out of Ruiz. James Tony. But are we going to do the triangle theory and explain how the triangle theory doesn't work? Angry Mexican. Yeah. But that's how he got the belt. So no reason for Roy to fight Evander. What I'm trying to say, my guy, is that Roy Jones Jr. fought the weakest link in the heavyweight division. I'm not saying that it was a bad reason or a good reason or the right reason. All I'm saying, like, look at Devin Haney. Devin Haney became undisputed by beating George Kambosos. Is there anyone ever going to say that George Kambosos is one of the best 135 pounders of this era? Is there anyone ever going to say George Kambosos could be a pound for pound fighter? No. So John Ruiz was like a George Kambosos. John Ruiz was one of these fighters who was a champion. Can't take that away from him. But he was never one of the guys. And when I say one of the guys, one of those that you're like, this is one of the best fighters of this era. He wasn't. Just like, remember, Tank Davis moved up to 140. And he beat a champion, or secondary champion. But he beat this guy, the Mexican kid. Tank Davis beat him, right? But he was the weakest link in the division. So there's nobody out there giving Tank credit like, oh, he beat Mario Barrios. Whoa, what a big win. Nobody sees Tank Davis beating Mario Barrios as a big win. So Roy Jones did make history because he moved up to the heavyweight division and beat a champion. But nobody really looks at John Ruiz like, whoa, what a big win for Roy Jones. Rodo, Ruiz hit Jones with one good punch in the first round. Junior, it's Smith, sorry about that. The Soto hybrid, tank that guy. Junior, hey Jay Smith, whatever happened to that kid that beat Rayo? He is good. Also, Norman Jr. Now it wasn't Norman Jr. that beat Rayo. It was one of the Gary Antoine Russell. Gary Antoine Russell. I mean, let's see what's next for him. Listen, Gary Antoine Russell can fight. I remember he took one loss and automatically social media came after him that he's a hype job. He's not as good as they say he is. This kid can fight. He's an elite level fighter. And to my understanding, he's trying to go after all the champions. So let's see what's next for Gary Antoine Russell. He's already a champion in the division, and I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. But he's a special fighter for sure. JJ's in the house. Let's go, guys. Hit that like button. Everyone, nice talking boxing with all of you guys. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Stop being cheap with that like button, my peoples. Because y'all know I'm giving y'all this original fire content. By the way, I uploaded a couple of new videos on YouTube. Check those videos out. Angry Mexican. Barrios had a regular belt when he fought Tank, when Tank fought him. Ruiz had a real heavyweight belt. So a bit different. Now you're getting into specifics about the belt, my brother. But where it is exactly the same, both guys are moving up to a higher division to fight a guy who's not a big name, who's not a big champion, who's not a pound for pound guy, who's not seen as a threat in the division. It's not, nobody's going to give a lot of credit to Tank Davis for beating Barrios, and nobody really gives Roy Jones a lot of credit for beating Ruiz. The credit that he does get is because he went into the heavyweight division and did that. And look, no disrespect to the quiet man. Ruiz was a good fighter, very good fighter, but he wasn't one of the best. He wasn't. When you talk about Roy Jones' resume, that's not one of the names that you come up with right away. Like, oh, look, he beat Ruiz. Angry Mexican. Barrios had, okay. De Soto hybrid. Raw Dog, don't be a hater. Raw Dog, Tankamaniacs think anybody he beats is a Hall of Fame fighter. I mean, listen, Tankamaniacs got their own logic, man. Tankamaniac logic is crazy. They want everybody to fight the best except Tank Davis. Angry Mexican, if Barrios had a real belt, Tank should get the full credit. I mean, but Angry Mexican, tell me what full credit do you give a fighter who goes to a division, fights the weakest link for a belt, and as soon as he wins, runs right back down to 135 and never even defends that belt once at 140. Never fight nobody else at 140. Well, what do you really call that shit? That shit was a grab and run, smash and run. You know how they break into the jewelry stores with hammers, dun, 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 and break everything, grab the chains and run out? That's what Tank Davis did at 140. Went over there, dun, 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 smashed Barrio, grabbed the belt, ran away to 135 right away. Weak. Arch30. Notice Tank playing the silent role. Further out, we go, the less we talk about that rematch. He ducking. Now look, supposedly, they've already agreed on the rematch. They working on the undercard and organizing. So I'm anticipating that they're going to officially announce that rematch. The Soto hybrid, shaking my head. JJ's in the house. Smash and grab, you're correct. I'm telling you, that smash and grab, that's what he did at the 140 division. Stepped in real quick, took care of business with Barrios, and left right away. Not a single title defense, not a single fight in the division outside of that one. Smash and grab. Oliver, who wins in a runoff between Ryan and Skull? I mean, Ryan and Skull is a fight that we will never see. Two different divisions, my brother. They're fighting in way different divisions. That will never happen. But I will say, which was the original topic for this video, I think Jaron Boost Ennis should fight Teofimo Lopez or Rollies Romero. And if Blair Cobbs is an option, I like that option as well. Love more Hinduism. What do you think about the beef with Shakur and Berlanga? I mean, number one, they're in two different weight classes, so they'll never fight each other. And number two, whatever caused it, I already see Shakur posted an apology. He said that, they took it the wrong way, but he did it, he says, hey, my brother, my bad, I apologize. It was taken in a different way that I meant it. So I think that it's going to be nothing to it. Shakur and Berlanga, they know each other for a lot of years. They train together as amateurs. And I think that's going to be a no issue. Oliver, Ben thinks he can handle Boots. I mean, that's an interesting fight. I would like to see Conor Ben versus Jaron Boots Ennis. I would like to see that fight. I'm not going to tell you he could beat him, because I got Jaron Boots Ennis over everybody. But I think it's a good fight. And in boxing, anything can happen. Don't write off a guy, like, oh, nah, he has no chance. He can pull off the upset. Boots would be the favorite, but I think he could pull off the upset. Arch30, real talk. If Tank handles Roach in the rematch, I'll gain a small amount of respect for the guy. Now, I got to tell you, look, I got a lot of respect for Tank Davis, and his fight with Lamar Roach didn't, get me to a point where I'm not going to respect him anymore, or I lost respect for him. I just feel like if you fight the right guys, the guys that are up there, you can lose, and that goes for anybody, including Tank Davis. There's few fighters who I think don't got nobody that could beat them. Tank Davis got a few people that could beat his ass, in my opinion. And that doesn't diminish how great of a fighter I believe he is. Tank is a special talent. I will say, I got Lamar Roach winning the rematch. I feel like Roach, got his number. And I feel like Lamar Roach got his number because we saw how the first fight played out. I keep telling you, Lamar Roach didn't survive 12 rounds, like William Skull, for example, versus Canelo. Lamar Roach wasn't there running. Tank Davis wasn't there chasing him around. We watched a fight where Lamar Roach was walking Tank Davis down for 12 rounds. If Tank Davis was stand his ground, Lamar Roach would be right there with him trading shots. This went the distance for 12 rounds. So after watching that fight, I honestly feel like Lamar Roach got his number. We're going to find out. We're going to find out in the rematch. Love more Hinduism. Rolly going to be a problem with new trainer. They got Rollies looking sharp. They got Rollies looking real good. We thought that he was going to step in the ring with Ryan and fight some type of rock'em sock'em robots type of fight. And we saw Rolly boxing. He boxed Ryan Garcia beautifully for 12 rounds. Jab to the body, jab up top. He would shoot the jab to the body and the left hook up top. Combination punches every time Ryan Garcia closed the gap. We saw Rollies that was sharp out there. So this version of Rollies is problematic for anybody. For anybody. We gotta see. Let's see what Rollies is gonna do next, because again, the winner of Rollies and Ryan was supposed to be mandated to fight Jaron Ennis, so I guess that's Rollies. I guess he's gonna be mandated to fight Boots. Is he gonna want to take that fight? We'll find out. Because you also got Teofimo Lopez calling for Boots. There's a lot of fights coming up, my people. 2025 has already been a great year for boxing, and it's going to continue to be a great year for the Sweet Science. Getting a lot of good fights coming up, my peoples. I'm about to get the hell out of here. Before I do, as always, I want to give a shout out to everybody who tuned in to talk boxing tonight. Love More Hinduism, John Parham, Oliver, JJ Sendejas, the Soto Hybrid, R30, the Angry Mexican, JJ Sendejas Jr., Raw Dog, and everybody else who showed up. I appreciate you, my peoples. You already know what it is, man. We're going to do it again tomorrow. We're going to talk about the Sweet Science. I'm Jay Smith. This is Box Center, your favorite boxers, favorite boxing show. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share these videos with everybody. Remember, Box Center is going to be the #1 boxing channel. Let everybody know so they can come through and check us out. I'm out of here, my peoples. Salute. Bam. Peace.